Hello, my dear students. Now, I shall speak on the second chapter, which is prescribed for second year PUC students. The title of the chapter is Consumer Behavior. This chapter seeks to explain how does a consumer behave in order to satisfy his wants with minimum resources. There are two approaches which explain the consumer behavior. They are the Cardinal Approach, another one is the Ordinal Approach. The Cardinal Approach uses the utilities where these utilities are measured in cardinal numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this Cardinal Approach is called utility analysis. And the law of diminishing marginal utility belongs to this Cardinal Approach. Since this law of diminishing marginal utility was developed by H.H. Goshen, this law is called the first law of Goshen. The second approach is Cardinal Approach, where utilities are not measured in cardinal numbers, but they are ranked according to the preference. And it is an improvement over the Cardinal Approach. And this approach is also called Hickesian approach because this approach was developed by a great professor, Professor H.R. Hicks, and another R.G.D. Allen. And this analysis is called indifference curve analysis. Now, let's understand the differences between total utility and marginal utility. Before knowing the differences between total utility and marginal utility, let's understand what's utility. Utility is the power of satisfying want, human want. In other words, want satisfying power of a commodity is called utility. Utility is subjective. It does mean it changes from person to person. For example, a person who smokes cigarette finds lot of utilities in cigarette, but a non-smoker doesn't find, he finds zero utility in cigarette. Now let's see the differences between total utility and marginal utility. Total utility refers to the summation of marginal utilities. If we add all the marginal utilities, we get the total utility. Total utility goes on increasing till a point where marginal utility becomes zero. Then when marginal utility becomes negative or when we find disutility, it starts falling. That will be made known while understanding the law of diminishing marginal utility. And the formula of total utility is equal to the sigma mu s. That means if you add all the marginal utilities, you will get total utilities. For example, when a consumer uses the first unit of a commodity, say jamun, he gets 10 utils of utility. And the total utility of the first jamun is 10. Suppose he consumes second jamun yields 8 marginal utility. You add 10 plus 8, second total utility will be 18. The third jamun gives 6 marginal utilities. 18 plus 6, it becomes 24. Third one gives 6. 18 plus 6, it becomes 24. Fourth one gives 4 utils of utility. You add 4 with 24, you will get 28. Then fifth one gives 2 utilities, marginal utilities, and the totality will be 30. Marginal utility is the extra utility that is derived from the consumption of an extra unit of a commodity. Say, for example, we get 18 utils of utility by the consumption of 2 jamuns. If we consume the third jamun, it yields 6 utils. And the total utility increases to 24. That does mean change in total utility due to change in consumption of an additional unit of a commodity. So, the extra utility that is derived from the consumption of an extra unit of a commodity is called marginal utility. And the formula of marginal utility is mu is equal to TUN minus TUN minus 1. Just say, by the consumption of 2 jamuns, the total utility will be 18. By the consumption of third, total utility increases by 24. So what you have to do is, total utility N is equal to 24 minus the previous one, total. Total utility N minus 1, that is, if you deduct 18 from 24, you will get marginal utility, that is 6.